Hello everyone, I'm Pricilla. I'm so excited to be here to deliver my this year's TestFlix talk. So this is a title. I'm going to speak about performance testing for your APIs. Are we really doing it? If not, no worries. I'll just explain. So as you all see the slide, you can just call me Priscilla. I'm currently based out of Malaysia and I'm a team leader. So this is a bit of information about me. And yeah, so what's in for today? Of course, we have a lot of things to discuss. Maybe a little bit about overview of performance testing of APIs, and then about what are the types of performance testing types which we have for APIs, and then why do we really need to do performance testing for your APIs, and what are the set of tools available. So this is all it's going to be for today. And then finally, I'll show you a little bit of demo with Postman and cases. So overview of performance testing. That sounds really interesting, right? Yes. So why do we really need to do, and what is actually performance testing? So evaluating your performance for your applications or APIs, like your APIs has to be evaluated for the performance, right? Nobody likes to work with a slowly loading application, or because we want everything to be like a very faster, like in a fraction of a second you want a faster result, and that's how we are, because people don't have time to wait for a web page to load for hours and hours. And when it comes to performance, few other factors or terms which you have to remember is all about stability, how stable your APIs are, because nobody wants to see the 500 series error messages, right? And scalability, when there is a special occasion, how your APIs are really scaling and handling those many requests. And the speed, how faster the response time is for your APIs, and how reliable, like how long you're using those APIs and how reliable are them, and how you're going to recommend it to other people as well. So these are the terminologies which you have to remember about. And when it comes to types, we have to remember 4 important types, I would say. Start with of load testing, wherein your load has to be a very little bit more than your nominal load. Of course, it has to be a load for your system where it is a bit heavier than the usual request which it was expecting, and for a certain period of time. And when it comes to stress testing, this is where you're going to try or find your breakpoint for your system. You're going to load and you're going to really stress out your system. And spike is nothing but a sudden spike. You can just think about the Apple launch, maybe for first few hours, definitely there will be a lot of users going out and checking, right? So a sudden spike. And soak is nothing but it is also called as endurance. So I believe you will be able to now relate that endurance. So a little bit of load than the usual load, and it is actually stretched for a quiet bit of time, right? Because this soak test is usually underestimated and you can actually find a lot of bugs in this area. So please try to focus more on this soak and endurance testing. And why performance testing? Are we really doing it all? Are you really convinced to do your performance testing? Because there are literally some findings which is going to help for you and your client and your APIs as well. So a few bottlenecks which are going to report it, right? And if there are a really very bad response time, you can definitely go ahead and inform your developers and your clients about it. And it helps you to find the errors or outages in your system and the CPU and memory usage for your servers, and lack of issues with scaling, whether your APIs are not able to handle enough the scaling. So this is a very good quote which you can always remember about, because we guys are really striving hard to find or make our customers happy every day. But just because of a performance issue, we are losing people, right? So it takes really months to find a customer, but it's just take seconds to lose one. So just remember this when someone is telling you next time, like, performance is not needed for your APIs. So importance of performance testing. We all know that overall APIs decide your overall application performance, because we know in this microservices based architecture, everything is revolving around API calls. So we need happy customers, right? You need a very high quality APIs and products which you have to deliver, and so that your performance is really increasing, and it helps in faster integration with multiple applications, and it's totally optimized as well. So a few tools available in market, we all know. So Apache JMeter, of course, that is a kind of master which is available in market for so long. But I would say like the GUI is a little bit not competent enough with the latest trending tools available in market. Gatling is one such tool, whether they have open source and enterprise version as well, and K6 is the same case. They have open source and cloud, load runner, BlazeMeter, and Locus. So these are the few performance-based testing tools which you can rely on. And when it comes to demo, I'll just start off with a few interesting points to consider. We all know when it comes to API testing, Postman is one of the preferred or go-to tool. But when it comes to a typical performance testing for your APIs, like you might not able to conclude properly, or you might not able to decide. I know that you guys might be using this collection runner, right? Because obviously what we will do, we'll just go simply run your collection. We'll just select your number of iterations, whatever we wanted to do. But we know that this is not a parallel run, like one after other, like the request is sent one after other. So this is not an ideal way of judging your API's performance. So what you have to do, but of course you can ask me, Pricilla, I have built my entire collection using Postman. I have written my assertions and all those things. And suddenly I have to go for another tool, especially for performance. I totally understand that. So that's where I had this challenge, and because I had a similar challenge, and that's where I found out K6. K6 was new to market, and they are really doing a good job. So what was the advantage here is like you can convert your Postman collections into K6 scripts. So that was the beauty of it. So there are some prerequisites which you have to remember, like download and install K6 open source. Of course, you have to do that before, and you have to build your collection, Postman collections, and keep it ready. You have to export it as well. I'll show you how to do that. And then you have to install Node.js. If you are already using Newman, just ignore it. You might have already installed Node.js as well. And you have to install Postman to K6 converter. So I'll just show you how that works. So this is the page where they have given all the details about this Postman to K6. So the installation, what are the options supported, what is not supported, all these things. So if there are some things which is not supported, what you have to do is like you have to just remove those ones before converting them into a K6 script. That is what I would say. So I'll just show you how to do that. So obviously, you know, you have already built your collection, right? So just go here, click on export. Let this be the same. You can just select the place where you wanted to actually export and keep your collection. Just save it. Okay. It's good to have Visual Studio. So just open that. Just open that. So already you have this demo collection which we imported right now. So the command is nothing but Postman to K6 and this demo collection hash hyphen O is nothing but the output, and you can give the new name for your K6 file, and that will be stored in as a JavaScript extension with JS extension. So in a fraction of a second you get your new file, and if you load it, this is how it will be looking like. It is auto-generated by the Postman to K6 converter. It looks a bit different than the usual K6 script, but that doesn't matter. It really works very well. And there are some few modifications you have to do, but if you don't want to do, there are options like wherein while converting itself, you have a configuration file wherein you can define all those things, because right now, it runs just with one virtual user. If you want to increase the virtual user, you have to do some customizations in the script. That's it. So we have multiple options to do this here. So if I wanted to do for 5 virtual users, I'll just go ahead and enter 5 virtual users for maybe for 1 minute. Okay. And the option for So just give your file name and just give enter. So for 5 users, it'll run for 1 minute. It'll take 60 seconds, right? So it'll get loaded. So see, 5 users for 1 minute. So meanwhile, I'll tell you one more thing. So we were seeing the different types of testing, right? So even K6 documentation is really good about that. So if you just click on the smoke testing, they have already cleared, like clearly given what we have just done few seconds back. For one virtual user, it's running for 1 minute. For we did is like for five virtual users. So one is nothing but just to ensure whether your script is running well or not. So this is a kind of dry run or smoke testing, which you can always do. And when it comes to load testing, you have to run phase by phase, right? So that's how they are introducing stages, wherein like for 5 minutes of duration, you have to target for 100 virtual users. Target is nothing but virtual users here. So 100 virtual users, and for 10 minutes, it's again 100 virtual users. And for last 5 minutes, it has to ramp down to 0. So this is how they are defining the stages. And based on this scenario building, you can actually design or you can educate your APIs to work this way. Right, so this one you can actually build using your current expertise or based upon your client input, whatever they are trying to provide. So say for example, if you go to soak test, they have clearly mentioned for under the stages, there is a duration for 2 minutes and the target for 400 virtual users. It is actually ramping up for 400 and then it's ramping down to 0. And then they are in between, they are maintaining 4 hours, around 4 hours. So we already saw that endurance, right? So for a few hours, you're going to stay with that load. So this documentation is really good. I believe our test might have run. Yes, it is. So if you come and see here, you might be seeing the common basic metrics, whatever we wanted to see. So it ran for 5 virtual users and for 1 minute, both the request, and you will be seeing all the average, min, median, medium, and median max, and the percentile of 90 and 95 as well. But this is the ideal way of seeing your data, right? But if you wanted to see your report in some other format also, of course, they have many formats to export your report as well. And can just explore whatever way if you wanted to do based on your requirement, I would say. But my personal favorite here is like, I'll tell you, there is a reporter, HTML reporter, because who doesn't like that, right? So there is a HTML reporter, which is actually going to help in a way. So there is this K6 reporter, wherein like you just have to import this option into your script. So I'm just importing, pasting this one. And also you have to report this function, which has to be placed at the last, and just save it. Okay. And the same command, you have to just run the script. That's it. So again, it will go back to the slides until it is finishing off. So please make sure that you are doing your monitoring on a daily basis, or in a recurring performance test will help you to understand more about your APIs and their stability. And it helps you to really understand more about the bottlenecks. And if there are any deviations, please try to document them. Okay, and try to share it with the intended audience as well. And as we saw before, please don't underestimate soak testing. It really helps you to unlock many bugs, especially the memory related ones. Script is done, and if you see here, there is a HTML file is also generated. I'll show that. How does it look? We have 1072 requests and 1 failed request. We see all the details in here. So this is just a sample. How does it look like? And thank you so much, Test Drive, for providing me this opportunity. I believe this talk might have been interesting for all of you. And please let me know if you have any questions.